For 9 months of the year, it is winter in Canada's alpine country. For plants and animals alike, it is the worst of times in this land above the trees. Canada's alpine regions lie between treeline and summit in a series of indistinct biological boundaries. Elevations vary from sea level in the Arctic to 1,400 meters in the coast mountains of British Columbia to above 2,200 meters in the Canadian Rockies. It is late June. The vernal equinox is weeks past. Only now does spring touch the land. At the edge of the retreating snow, thin layers of ice act as tiny greenhouses, warming the ground, shielding tender growth from the wind. The frozen ground has been as parched as a desert. Spring thaw unlocks the water. It is a time of short-lived plenty. In the rarefied alpine atmosphere, the sun's radiation is intense. Plants are quick to respond. Almost overnight, the high meadows blush with color. Birds journey up from the valleys below to feast on the growing insect population. Alpine plants flower and set seed quickly once the snow is melted. The blossoms are colorful and oversized, an attraction to pollinating birds and insects. Above the lush meadows of wildflowers lies a patchwork community of plants. The infertile soil is rocky and porous, unable to store water. Plant life is sparse, yet uniquely adapted for survival. The phlox, in common with many alpine plants, hugs the ground to absorb heat and avoid the wind. The western anemone grows hairy leaves and stems to trap warm, insulating air. Some plants have a waxy coating that reduces transpiration. Others, like the stonecrop, have fleshy leaves to store water. Most alpine plants are perennial, spreading slowly and flowering only in the most favorable years. A marmot, the largest member of the squirrel family, fattens up after months of hibernation. The marmot has a litter only in alternate years, so the young enjoy parental protection for 3 years. Beyond the transitional level of the subalpine zone, trees are so stunted that they are no longer trees but shrubs. They are called Krummholz, a German word meaning crooked wood. Growth is imperceptible, occurring perhaps for only 2 or 3 weeks each year. Still dwarf after a century, many will survive for another 500 years. Ground-hugging and contorted, bare limbs bleached by the sun, they must withstand the wind's full fury. High above the tree line, plant life is meager and less varied. Here the shrubby Arctic willow clings for shelter to the weathered rocks. Nearby, the moss campion grows under Arctic conditions. But undoubtedly, the first form of life to take hold on these barren rocks are lichens. Lichens are actually 2 plants in one, a fungus and an alga, living in symbiosis. The fungus produces acids, which dissolves rock minerals into a chemical that the alga can absorb. In turn, the alga synthesizes these minerals into nutrients on which both can feed. Growing outward at a mere millimeter or 2 each year, a century to colonize even the smallest rock face, lichens survive under conditions rivaling the most severe on Earth. Among crags and rocky ridges lives the mountain goat. They go where no predator dares to follow. These close relatives of the European chamois are not goats at all, but belong to the antelope family. During winter, their bodies are covered with a double coat of dense fur that protects against external cold. Internal warmth is generated by the fermentation of food in the animal's digestive tract, similar to the heating action within a compost heap. The mountain goat also has highly specialized feet. The secret of its sure-footedness is a rubbery pad protruding from the bottom of its hooves. These foot pads act like skid-proof suction cups, improving grip and traction on the rocky slopes where they browse at the uppermost limits of plant growth. Above the tundra, many mountain peaks lie frozen beneath a perpetual white shroud. These are the snows of yesteryear, compressed by their own weight into layers of ice. Ages old, rough-hewn by time and the eroding effects of sun and wind, these glaciers are but mere remnants of the mile-thick ice sheets that once carved and scoured the North American landmass. In this realm of ice, the air is cold even when the sun is high. Winter is the only season. Snow and ice melt slowly. But with these small drops of meltwater, perhaps frozen in time for 10,000 years, great rivers begin their long journey to the sea. Carving its own channel, rushing through and under glaciers, meltwater from the Rockies will eventually find its way to all three oceans washing Canada's shores. Summer in alpine country seldom lasts longer than 6 weeks. With autumn, the colors of the alpine canvas mute and fade. Plants have made full use of snow-free summer days to grow, blossom, and set seed. The blue grouse feeds on insects and vegetation. It will help disperse the seed crop. Seeds are also scattered by the constant wind. Mouth stuffed with bedding material, a marmot prepares for the bleak months ahead. Hibernation is only a few weeks away. The pika, or rock rabbit, will not hibernate, but stay active under the rock piles all winter long. Of the birds, only the ptarmigan will winter here. Its feathered feet act like insulated snowshoes. In a high mountain pass, bighorn sheep gather for the mating ritual. It is the rutting season. Horns clashing in ritual combat, rams fight for dominance in the days before mating. With a suddenness that surprises, autumn is over. Bighorn sheep drift down from the high country. They will find food and shelter below the tree line. Now plump with the accumulated fat of a summer's feasting, marmots enjoy the last days before hibernation. Soon they will sleep for 8 to 9 months. By October, the alpine year has come full circle. During January, the coldest month, the temperature may plunge to minus 50 degrees Celsius. Throughout this wilderness of flowers and shrubs and wild creatures, the world is in a delicate balance. Nature sets harsh terms. Life's simple mandate is survival.